It's the Powerhouse Woman Show. You're a powerhouse woman, successful, accomplished, but you know the time has come for something else. To pivot, make a shift, or do what you've been putting off for a long time. I'm Monica Pierre, a media entrepreneur, Emmy Award-winning journalist and coach, and I'm on a mission to help you figure out your path forward and create powerful new stories about your life and legacy. There's more ahead. Time to do the greatest work of your life. Hello, everyone. And yes, it is time to do the greatest work of your life because there is more ahead. Thank you for joining us today on the Powerhouse Woman Show. When it comes to winning and how you define it, where does it start? What does it look like? Is it all external or is it internal? How do we win? Well, that's going to be our topic today. And we are joined by the fabulous, the one, the only, let me get my mouse working here, Dr. Ronika Briscoe. And Dr. Briscoe is CEO of Winning on the Road. Dr. Briscoe is an executive coach. She's a strategist. She's a consultant. She's a fabulous human being, which I should have said first. Welcome to the show, Dr. Briscoe.
Thank you so much, Monica. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I have known you really most of 2024, and you were a member of the Storymaker Academy, and you're doing all these wonderful things. So it's just an honor at the right time to have you on the show today.
Well, I'm very excited to chat. I know our short time together is going to go by fast.
Very, very fast. But we have to say your workflow. Hello there, Danielle, for joining us. Another member of the Storymaker Academy Graduate School. And Danielle, oh yes,
hey,
awesome.
Queen.
Great morning, Queens. We love it. We love our show. So you're right. We don't have a lot of time, but it'll be perfect. This may have to be a two-parter. I have to have you on the show again. Let's talk about winning within. And I'm curious because the name of your company is Winning on the Road. How did that come about?
So a couple years ago, 2021, I completed my doctoral journey. And through that journey, I had the opportunity to interview African-American women who sat in executive leadership roles across the country. And as they shared their stories, it was really stories about winning, but winning on the road. They were heavily recruited into organizations. They were the best of the best. You know, they were MVPs in their fields. Yet, when they arrived at these companies, it wasn't a warm reception. You know, they didn't have a fan club, you know, and a lot of times they felt like they were isolated and marginalized and working independently rather than working with the team. And as they use different team metaphors, sports metaphors, Winning on the Road kind of bubbled up because we know that when we go to a home game, we know the atmosphere is electric, it's live, it's exciting. We know that our fans are there to support us. Oftentimes when we travel to away games, the crowd is very different because they're supporting the home team.
And sometimes the crowd is hostile.
Yes.
Not even sportsmanlike at all.
Yes.
Well, how do powerhouse women, first of all, what does it mean to win from within or win within? And how can that show up in your life?
Yes. So winning within is about knowing who you are fundamentally. What do you believe in? What do you value? What are your strengths and your undeniable talent? So when we operate in our strengths, when we operate in our gifts, it comes easy. It's not forced. It doesn't hurt. It's not painful. So when you're able to win within, you're able to identify who you are, what you stand for, what you value, what you bring to the table and to the team, and you are undeniable in those gifts. And those things are what's exciting. And you're able to win within by leaning into those values and those strengths because you are confident and competent in who you are.
Great. So when you're not working within those strengths and those gifts and the talents and not being who you are, how does that show up when you're not winning from within?
Yeah, so you are very, I mean, for lack of a better word, miserable typically, right? So when you are operating in your gifts, you are definitely feeling confident about yourself. When you are forced to operate outside your talents and outside your gifts, it feels forced. You're spending more time because you have to do more research. It is not easy. A lot of times it becomes miserable, and you're doing things that you are not excited about. You're doing things that you know aren't aligned with your values, with your talent, with your skills, with your knowledge, with your expertise. And we can learn a lot of things, right? But that takes time. And through that time and growing pains, it just really sometimes become overwhelming. So when we are able to find roles that align with our talent and our strengths and what we bring to the table, then we're able to really find our niche and get our footing and have a good experience overall, right? A lot of times we're offered opportunities and we're like, yeah, that would be great. You know, that sounds like a great opportunity for me, but it was misaligned, right?
Oh,
It's
yes.
you could do the things, but does it come easy for you? Is it the things that you are most um, set up to do? Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
In fact, we're getting some comments from the Queen Danielle's in your workflow. You also have to shrink yourself
listen.
to fit in old boxes. And maybe the box was
Absolutely.
fine once upon a time.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's a huge piece of it when we are attempting to fit a mold. A lot of times I work with leaders, and leaders have seen other people's leadership, right? And they want to mimic it, but that's not who you are, right? So you're not going to be successful by using the strategies and the tools that somebody else used, because that was natural for them, and that's why they were successful in doing it. So just really identifying your niche as a leader and how you lead and what you value and what you bring to the table will make life a lot easier.
Right. And growing. Give us an idea of how you work with clients, because we do mention that you are an executive coach, you are a consultant strategist, and more, particularly women of color, Black women,
Yeah,
women in general, are really tapping into the power of having coaches, whether or
yeah,
not they get a coach because of where they are in their position in the company, but they're seeking it out for their professional and personal development. So, how do you work with women or
yeah.
men?
So let me say it's absolutely necessary. Everybody should have a coach. So even the president of the United States have advisors, and I had the opportunity to work with a lot of women. I typically work with two groups. The first group are women who are in middle leadership and they are seeking executive leadership roles and they are feeling stuck. They've done their time, they have the degrees, they have the knowledge, they have the skills, but they haven't been able to matriculate to that executive leadership role. The second group of women that I really enjoy working with are early career women who seek and aspire to be executive leaders, and they are really planning and plotting early their journey to leadership. So we have the opportunity to have one-on-one sessions. We use the Clifton Strengths, which is an assessment to identify your strengths, or we use the Myers-Briggs, which is about personality as a jumping off point. And then we really cultivate the coaching based on their needs, their what they're trying to accomplish, and we go from there.
Well, that is powerful. And again, I just knew the time would go so quickly. But I want to talk about on a couple of things. Number one, you speak about and maybe write about this idea of getting coaching, but we also need mentors, and mentors we get, but we
Yes,
never consider sponsorship or someone to sponsor us.
yes.
Distinguish between mentors and sponsors.
Yes. So mentors, and we typically have a few, right? So mentors are people who are sometimes in our field. They're able to provide advice. We have coffee with them. We can go to them, lay our head on their pillows, tell them all about what's happening, and they can give us advice around what it is that we can do um, to grow and learn and, evolve. Sponsors are, on the other hand, are in positions of power, and they're in rooms that you're not in, and they're able to offer you up for opportunities and put their name and reputation on the line to get you to the next level. So sometimes mentors turn into sponsors, sometimes not. But sponsors are the people that we want on our team when we are seeking the opportunity to develop and perform at higher levels and get to further our opportunities.
So, Dr. Briscoe, I can imagine, because I've been asked many times, can you mentor me? I
Yes.
teach at university, so I get that a lot. Do you say, will you sponsor me? Or does the sponsor, sometimes unbeknown to you,
Mm-hmm.
is sponsoring you?
Yes. So it can happen a lot of different ways, but most often than not, a sponsor has identified you as a person who brings something to the table and they want to see you grow. Sometimes you don't even know that they are advocating on your behalf, that they are talking you up in those rooms. I think as women, we are sometimes afraid to ask. And of course, you're not going to just say, Monica, will you be my sponsor? Will you help me get this job? But through relationship building, through showing yourself and individuals being able to really identify you as a strong person and a talent that will be value added somewhere, they will naturally give you those sponsorship opportunities. I think what's important is that we don't let people down when they put their name on the line for us, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
when they have said undeniably that Monica is the person, we have to show up and show out, right? So
Yes.
sponsorship sometimes is difficult for people because they don't want to put their reputation out there and then they're shot in the foot, right? So it goes both ways.
Yeah, I tend to say, well, would I write a check and pay you directly?
Yes,
The answer
yes,
is no, no, not now. Yeah,
yes.
and before we leave, I want to talk about this idea. I've heard you say this too, self-promotion, and then how self-promotion creates our own narrative.
Oh
Speak
yeah,
about what,
definitely.
and again, it's difficult for some people, and I'll raise my hand on that one, to self-promote. So how it shows up for me is that I'm happy, I'm blessed, I acknowledge it, but then I go on to the next thing very quickly, so I don't sit in that victory too long because I'm
Yeah.
uncomfortable there.
Yeah. So when we look at social media and we look at influencers and all the content that they roll out, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not that great. And many of us are sitting on wins that we have told nobody about, right? So I often direct my clients to LinkedIn so that they can toot their own horn. And you have the opportunity to tell the narrative there. So if you just completed a big project, if you won a huge RFP, take the minute to celebrate, post it online, and let people know specifically what you contributed to that win. When you go through your social media and all you see are posts about a company that you work for and nothing about what you contributed, that's a red flag, right? Because oftentimes we are recruited to roles and people are going on your LinkedIn to see what have you done? What have you accomplished? What are you bringing to the table? And that should be the narrative to them of who you are, what you can contribute, and what success you've had in the past. And you get to write it, right? So you've gotten an award, that should be posted. If you've been recognized, that should be posted. If you just completed a huge project, that should be posted. So just really thinking about how we are able to cultivate our own narrative and situate ourselves in the market and in the fields as experts in whatever you're bringing to the table is
Right.
super important because
Very
nobody
important.
else is going to
No,
touch your
no.
horn. Yeah.
They're not going to do it, or they're not going to, if they do it, it'll be an afterthought and it'll
Yeah.
never be what you think it needs to be.
Mhm.
Fascinating information. And the whole idea of winning on the road, winning from within is fascinating. And I do want to have you back.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'll do a repeat guest, but I think it's important to really delve deeper into self
Yeah.
promotion and the various stages in which we went on the road. So, how
Yeah.
can people, our wonderful audience, get in touch with you or follow you, and you walk your talk. You will have things posted on LinkedIn. So yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
So I would definitely say find me on LinkedIn, Dr. Anika Briscoe. That's the best place right now. And as more outlets to find me, I'll post them on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram at Winning on the Road. Less active on Instagram, more active on LinkedIn. But definitely look me up, send me a direct message, friend me, connect with me, and would love to follow you as well.
Well, you have been an amazing guest, as we knew you would be, and of course, all very practical and actionable ideas as well. So, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Oh, good. And thank you all for joining us today on the Powerhouse Woman Show. This is a show where we come together. It's live, but if you haven't seen it live, that's okay. You can go online and and you'll make sure that you get these episodes. This is a must watch episode. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time on the Powerhouse Woman Show.